House will come to order. Please join Representative Basenecker in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gregorio, please call the roll.
Representative Amabile. Representative Amabile is excused. Bacon.
Here.
Baisley. Representative Baisley is excused. Benavidez. Burnett. Byrd. Bockenfeld. Basenecker. Bradfield. Caraveo. Carver. Catlin. Cutter. Doherty. Duran. Escar. Exum.
Good morning, sir.
Froelich. Geithner. Gonzalez Gutierrez. Gray. Hanks. Herod. Representative Herod.
Excuse.
Representative Herod is excused. Holtorf. Hooten. Jackson.
Here.
Judah. Kennedy. Kip. Larson. Lontine. Luck. Lynch. McCluskey. McCormick. McKean. McLaughlin.
Good morning.
Michelson Janae. Mullica. Neville.
Here.
Ortiz. Felton. Pico. Representative Pico. Representative Pico is excused. Ransom. Rich. Ricks.
Present.
Roberts. Sandridge. Sirota. Snyder. Soper. Representative Soper. Representative Soper is excused. Sullivan. Representative Tipper. Representative Tipper is excused. Titone. Valdez A. Valdez D. Van Bever. Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams. Woodrow. Woog. Young. And Mr. Speaker.
What's going to happen to...
With 59 present, 6 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Basenecker.
No, I appreciate that.
Representative Basenecker.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Journal of Tuesday, May 4, 2021 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you have heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. You can tell that people were here late last night, and the ayes clearly have it, and the motion is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Announcements. Oh, Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Education Committee, we are meeting in adjournment, and we're going to listen to Senate Bill 119. We are so excited to see you there.
Thank you, Representative McLaughlin. Representative Weissman.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Judiciary Committee members, this is an announcement about our calendar today. We are hearing House Bill 1280 and House Bill 1298 in our usual afternoon time, 1:30. We will be in the large room over here, Old State Library, aka 271. We will not be downstairs today. See you at 1:30.
Representative A. Valdez.
Good morning, members of House Energy and Environment. We will be meeting today upon adjournment to hear Senate Bill 66. Be there, be square. We're across the street today.
Representative Wantine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This afternoon at 1:30, Health and Insurance is meeting in room 112. We are moving the calendar around just a little bit. We will be hearing House Bill 1068 first, and then Senate Bill 142 second, and then 1276 is still last. So be there, be square.
Thank you, Representative Wantine. Two announcements. Representative A. Valdez.
Thank you for the indulgence, Mr. Speaker. I messed up. It's Senate Bill 166 that we'll be hearing today, and the illustrious Speaker Pro Tem informed me that I need to get up here and fix that. 166 today, LSBA, upon adjournment, Energy and Environment. Thank you.
Further announcements and introductions. Representative Froelich. We have a tribute. All right.
Oh, do you have an announcement?
We have a tribute, but before we do that, let's go to Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues. I beg for your leadership and guidance on a question that I will postulate. I've had a school from eastern Colorado drive up. It's about a 2.5, 3-hour drive. I think they're in the building but not in the gallery, and I was going to ask to introduce the class. The history and civics class of the Otis Senior High School. They're not quite here yet. I don't know if that's possible to do at a later time. Or
yeah, normally, because remember we're in COVID times, but it's great that schools are coming back. You can either recognize them now and we can give them a round of applause even though they're not in the chamber, or maybe it would work if they were to show up for the second round of announcements or introductions. It's hard to make an announcement and or introduction while we're actually in business, but you could do both. You can recognize them now, and then if they do show up and it's appropriate, recognize them when they're here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do appreciate you. Every day we're together. I would say that it would be best to recognize them at the end of announcements and introductions and when they do arrive. But I would like to let my colleagues here know that we've got a little school there of many schools in eastern Colorado, and these kids have come up to, following COVID restrictions, of course, have come up to the Capitol. They graduate here in about a week and a half, and this is their culminating senior trip for their civics and history class.
That's great.
It's to be called social studies. So I'm welcoming them. My aide's going to spend some time with them, and towards the end of the session here, we'll meet those kids and their teacher. So I'm very happy to have them in the building. Thank you.
That's great, Representative Holtorf. Thank you. Representative Froelich.
Thank you, members. I have a tribute, and Mr. Gregorio, I'd like you to read it, please.
State of Colorado, the House of Representatives, convened in the 73rd General Assembly, hereby offers sincere condolences and expressions of sympathy to the friends and family of Carol Goldstein. Carol Goldstein, Ph.D., was a professor of nursing and an outstanding advocate for all women battling ovarian cancer. After her diagnosis, she published 3 studies that shine the light on the need for medical professionals to increase the knowledge level of ovarian cancer. She chaired the Council for the Gynecological and Oncology Division at the University of Colorado, a group of volunteers committed to promoting education about ovarian cancer, in the hope that this crucial training supports an increase in those practicing and diagnosing this cancer. Carol attended the High School for Performing Arts in New York City and graduated from the Adelphi School of Nursing. She served the nursing profession in a number of venues, including NYU Hospital and Denver's Porter Hospital, where she was the first cardiac clinical specialist. She spent 10 years in Hong Kong teaching at Hong Kong University Medical School and actively pursuing tobacco control throughout the territory. Upon her return to Denver, she taught health policy with a passion to graduate nurses at Regis University. Carol passed away after fighting valiantly against her ovarian cancer, not just for herself, but on behalf of many women in Colorado grappling with ovarian cancer diagnoses. The members of the Colorado House of Representatives offer our sincerest condolences to her family and friends. On request of Representative Meg Froelich, given this 5th day of May, 2021, State Capitol, Denver.
Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much for allowing us to hear this tribute. Carol Goldstein was just an amazing person, a terrific fighter on behalf of all folks grappling with not just ovarian cancer, but cancer in general, and really focused on what that care should look like, and particularly for women. And we know with ovarian cancer, it goes undiagnosed, and so there was a lot of work to do and ongoing, continuing work. I miss her dearly. We are joined by friends and her husband, Henry Goldstein, and Patrice Hopman, Executive Director of the Colorado Ovarian Cancer Alliance. So thank you for allowing this tribute, and welcome to our guests.
Thank you for being here, and we're so sorry for your loss. Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you today.
Honor to serve with you as well, Representative Valdez.
Good morning, members. Today is Cinco de Mayo. We're celebrating Cinco de Mayo here today, but also the heritage, the culture. And in House District 62, not only did the border cross my family, we are natives to the San Luis Valley. Also, different heritage and cultures enrich with the people who come from different diversities. So with that, I just wanted to, as the festivities and celebrations continue on for Cinco de Mayo, please be safe and please be healthy. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you, Representative Valdez. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for the immediate consideration of House Joint Resolution 1008.
Seeing no objection, we will proceed out of order for immediate consideration of House Joint Resolution 1008. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Joint Resolution 1008.
HJR 21-10008 by Representatives Escar and McKean, also Senators Fenberg and Holbert, concerning a request to the Supreme Court of the State of Colorado to render its opinion upon questions regarding Sections 44 to 48.5 of Article 5 of the State Constitution.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Joint Resolution 1008 and ask that it not be read at length. Members, this is the discussion we started last night that I promised you we'd pick up first thing in the morning. Here we are, and we ask for your support so we can get this moving and onto the Supreme Court.
It has been properly moved. Mr. Minority Leader McKean.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And truly, what was a robust discussion of what the relationship is between what we ask and really the will of the voters in Y and Z. I stand with the Majority Leader to say this is a question we need to ask. We need to get this to the Senate and get our answers back.
Is there any further discussion in the House? Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, and this resolution was put on my desk late last night, and I have some concerns. Concerns of, is this the right? Is this accountable? Is this accountability moving forward for not only for democracy, but also the accountability? Does this not only represent House District 62? In what way? X, Y, and Z? But with this, the aspect of the discussion from last night, and here we are again this morning. I want to make sure that as I stand here for democracy, for accountability, for fairness as we move forward. And with this, I ask House Joint Resolution to be read at length.
Mr. Gregorio, please.
HJR 10008, concerning a request to the Supreme Court of the State of Colorado to render its opinion upon questions regarding Sections 44 to 48.4 of Article 5 of the State Constitution. Whereas in 2018, the voters in Colorado overwhelmingly approved Amendments Y and Z, and whereas Amendment Y, which became Sections 44 to 44.6 of Article 5 of the state constitution, changed the entity responsible for redrawing congressional districts from the General Assembly to a new independent congressional redistricting commission, Congressional Commission, and Amendment Z, which becomes Sections 46 to 48.4 of Article 5 of the state constitution, changed the entity responsible for redrawing the districts for the state and Senate and State House of Representatives from the Reapportionment Commission to a new independent legislative redistricting commission, and whereas in sections 44 or 46 of Article 5 of the state constitution, the people declared that they wanted and deserved a redistricting process that provides the public with the ability to be heard as redistricting maps are drawn, to be able to watch to witness and deliver testimony and the redistricting commission's deliberations, and to have their written comments considered before any proposed map is voted upon by the commission as the final map. And whereas amendments Y and Z provide for a multi-stage process with specific deadlines for consideration and development of redistricting plans, which nonpartisan staff prepares and presents a preliminary redistricting plan to each commission to be completed between May 1 and May 15. The commissions conduct numerous public hearings on the preliminary plans in locations across the state to be completed by July 7th for the Congressional Commission and by July 21st for the Legislative Commission, allowing at least 5 weeks for the public hearings to be held. The commissions provide direction to nonpartisan staff, who then prepares and presents up to 3 staff plans to each commission, which the commission review, consider, and possibly amend. Each commission approves a plan to be submitted to the Colorado Supreme Court by September 1 for the Congressional Commission and by September 15th for the Legislative Commission. If a commission is unable to approve a plan by the deadline specified in the state constitution, nonpartisan staff submits the unamended 3rd staff plan to the Colorado Supreme Court. The Colorado Supreme Court either approves each commission's plan or sends the plan back to the commission with the reason it is for its disapproval by November 1 for the Congressional Commission and by November 15th for the Legislative Commission, and the Colorado Supreme Court gives final approval to the Congressional Redistricting Plan by December 15th and the Legislative Redistricting Plan by December 29th. And whereas amendments Y and Z provide for increased public participation at various stages of the redistricting process by requiring at least 3 public hearings on the preliminary plan of each commission in each of the 7 existing congressional districts, allowing any Colorado resident to submit a redistricting plan and provide comments to the redistricting commissions with the plan and comments posted on the commission's website, and after the commissions begin considering staff plans, prohibiting the commissions unless waived by all commissioners from voting to approve a plan for 72 hours after a staff plan is presented, but to the commissions or the staff is amended at a public meeting so that the public is aware of what is in each commission's final plan submitted to the Colorado Supreme Court. And whereas sections 44.45C and 48.25C of Article 5 of the state constitution allow the commissions to adjust the specified timelines for the work if circumstances outside the commission's control require such an adjustment to ensure the adoption of a plan, thus allowing the commissions the flexibility to ensure the public has functional opportunities to participate in the process when strict adherence to the specified deadlines would impair such participation. Whereas the state constitution does not provide a mechanism by which to adjust the deadline specified for the Colorado Supreme Court to review and approve the plans submitted by the commissions pursuant to sections 44.5 and 48.3 of Article 5 of the state constitution, whereas the constitutionally mandated timelines and deadlines for the work of the commissions are based on the understanding that 13 U.S.C. Section 141 requires the United States Census Bureau to provide the state by March 31, 2021, with the population and demographic data at the census block level necessary to redraw election districts. And whereas due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the United States Census Bureau did not provide the total population data for the state by March 31, 2021, as required by 13 U.S.C. Section 141. And whereas the tabulation of the total population by state required by 13 U.S.C. Section 141, Print Small b, was released on April 26, 2021, and the United States Census Bureau anticipates releasing the remaining data on the following schedule. The redistricting data, which is the population and demographic data at the census block level, will be released in a legacy format summary redistricting data file by mid to late August 21, and the final section census data, which is the redistricting data required by 13 U.S.C. Section 141C, and fundamentally the same data to be provided in the legacy format in August 2021, will be released on or after September 30th, 2021, with at least 6 months after the original deadline. And whereas if the commission are required to wait to begin work on their plans until the final census data is released on September 30th, 2020 at the earliest, it will be impossible for the commissions to comply with the requirements and meet the mandated deadline specified in the state constitution to submit their final plans for the Supreme Court's consideration and approval of the plans. And whereas if the commission are delayed in submitting the final plans to the Colorado Supreme Court, it is likely the court will not be able to approve or disapprove the plans by November 1 for the Congressional Commission, by November 15th for the Legislative Commission. And whereas if the commissions cannot begin the public hearing process prior to the release of the final census data, there is likely to be substantially less public discussion of the proposed district boundaries in the preliminary and staff plans and their adherence to the criteria specified in sections 44.3 and 48.1 of Article 5 of the state constitution, contrary to voter expectations when they adopted amendments Y and Z. And whereas if it is to the public's benefit for redistricting to be completed at the new district boundaries known well in advance of the 2022 primary election, so that the potential candidates can make decisions about whether to run for office and meet the deadlines for nomination by petition or assembly that precede the preliminary election, primary election. And Whereas if the start of the redistricting process is delayed until approximately September 30th, 2021, when the receipt of the final form of data from the United States Census Bureau is anticipated, it is impossible that the election events, such as precinct caucuses in the primary election, will need to be delayed as well, allowing less time for voters to consider and choose among candidates for United States Senate and statewide electus offices, as well as
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I withdraw my motion to have the bill read at length. Thank you.
Thank you. And it is a resolution, folks, and we're actually not required to have resolutions read at length. So just for future purposes, we wanted to be respectful of our duly elected member of this body. However, we're not required to go about it in the same way that we do bills. However, we did just do that, and I just wanted to highlight that for the body for future resolutions where we might run into a similar situation. With that, is there further discussion of House Joint Resolution 1008? Seeing none. There has been a request for a recorded vote. So the question before us is the passage of House Joint Resolution 1008. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine. Members, please proceed to vote. And remember, it's a simple majority for the passage of House Joint Resolution 1008. For those folks participating remotely, Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote? And if you're able to turn on your camera. And
Yes.
Okay, Representative Exum votes yes. Are you able to turn on your camera, Representative Exum?
And that is on.
All right, we are unable
Try
to.
again.
Yeah, we're unable to see it. Hold on one sec. We'll work with our technology folks. And
Can you see me now?
no, we can't.
Okay, well, it's showing that it's on my end.
All right. Representative Amable and Representative Tipper. Representative Tipper. $5.10 fine. And Representative Exum, we can see your camera. Thank you very much. With that, please close the machine.
Okay, thank you.
With 50 aye votes, 13 no votes, and 2 excused, House Joint Resolution 1008 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for the immediate consideration of third reading of bills, final passage.
Seeing no objection, we'll proceed out of order for immediate consideration of third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1234.
House Bill 1234 by Representatives Tipper and Bradfield, also Senators Moreno and Rankin, concerning reducing student learning loss through the creation of high-impact tutoring programs and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1234 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1234 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. For those participating remotely, Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote? Representative Exum votes yes. And are you able to turn on your camera, Representative Exum?
Okay, can you see me now?
Yeah, we can't. Your camera's not on our end. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Representative Exum. Please close the machine. With 55 aye votes, 8 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1234 is adopted. Co-sponsors.
Yes.
Representative Jackson, co-sponsor. Representative Bacon, Ricks, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1270.
House Bill 1270 by Representatives Exum and Caraveo, also Senators Fields and Kirkmeyer, concerning an appropriation of the Department of Human Services for services related to the Colorado Employment First program within the Supplemental Assistance Nutrition Program and in connection therewith, making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1270 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1270 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote? Representative Exum. And we can't see the camera on our end.
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes.
Why does he keep going away?
Please close the machine. With 42 aye votes, 21 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1270 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Ricks and Representative Jackson, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to Senate Bill 188.
Senate Bill 188 by Senator Danielson, also Representatives Duran and Ortiz, concerning allowing a voter with a disability who receives a ballot through an electronic voting device to return the ballot electronically.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 188 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 188 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes. Please close the machine. With 41 aye votes, 22 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 188 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Jackson, co-sponsor. Representative Bacon and Representative Ricks, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1271.
House Bill 1271 by Representatives McCluskey and Judah, also Senator Gonzalez, concerning the establishment of programs offering state assistance to local governments to promote the development of innovative affordable housing strategies in a manner that is compatible with best local land use practices, and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1271 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1271 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes. Representative Catlin and Larson. Please close the machine. With 41 aye votes, 22 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1271 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Bacon, McLaughlin, Jackson, and Ricks, and Exum co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 247.
Senate Bill 247.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lay over Senate Bill 247 until May 19th.
Seeing no objection, the Senate Bill 247 will be laid over until May 19th. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1238.
House Bill 1238 by Representative Burnett, also Senator Hansen, concerning the modernization of gas energy efficiency program.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1238 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1238 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote? And we actually did check with
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes. And we did check with LCS, and because Representative Exum, you type in a special code to WebEx, you don't, if it's better service without your camera on, that is allowed under the regulations. Please close the machine. With 41 aye votes, 22 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1238 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative McLaughlin, Jackson, co-sponsor. Representative Ricks, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1162.
House Bill 1162 by Representatives Valdez A. and Cutter, also Senators Gonzalez and Garcia, concerning the management of plastic products and in connection therewith, making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1162 on third reading, final passage.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and Majority Leader. I want to urge a no vote on this. This will dramatically increase the cost of living for the people of Colorado. It will dramatically increase costs on some of the most struggling business owners trying to come out of COVID here, which is our restaurant and to-go folks. And we can't measure the costs on all of Colorado families, but we can measure the cost at least in schools, which we know this is over $5 million annually, about $5.2 million annually that won't be going to teachers, won't be going to classrooms, and will instead be going to cafeterias so that they can change up how they do their business, according to us who apparently know better. So I urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1162 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes. Representative Gray and McCluskey. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 23 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1162 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative McLaughlin, Jackson, Bacon, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 100.
Senate Bill 100 by Senator Buckner, also Representative McCluskey, concerning the continuation of the Council of Higher Education Representatives.
And I need to talk to you about
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 100 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 100 on third reading and final passage. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Ricks votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes.
Okay. Senate Bill 21-100 passes on a vote of 55 ayes and 8 noes, 2 excused. Co-sponsors, Mr. Gregorio, if you could open it. Representative McLaughlin wants to co-sponsor. Anyone else? Please close the machine, Mr. Gregorio. And please read the title of Senate Bill 147.
Senate Bill 147 by Senators Fields and Holbert, also Representatives Froelich and Van Winkle, concerning the continuation of the regulation of athletic trainers by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move Senate Bill 147 on third reading, final passage.
Is there any discussion on Senate Bill 21-147? Seeing none, members proceed to vote. Open the machine, Mr. Gregorio, and then proceed to vote. Forgot about that. Do I have to go back down there and vote? Do I have to go back down there and vote? Okay. I can't even read who that is. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
And thank you. And Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Oh. All right. Sorry, I didn't know how to vote up here. Okay. Senate Bill 21-140. All members have voted. Mr. Gregorio, please close the machine. Senate Bill 21-147 passes with 56 aye votes, 6 no votes, and 3 excused. And are there any co-sponsors, Mr. Gregorio? Open the machine for co-sponsors. Oh, Representative McLaughlin wants to co-sponsor, as does Representative Ricks. Anyone else? Remote? No? Okay. Please close the machine, Mr. Gregorio, and read the title of House Bill 21-1265.
House Bill 1265 by Representatives Mullica and Van Winkle, also Senators Pedersen and Woodward, concerning a temporary deduction from state next taxable sales for certain retailers in the state in order to allow such retailers to retain the resulting sales tax collected as assistance for lost revenue as a result of the economic disruptions due to the presence of coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19 in Colorado in connection therewith, making an appropriation.
Wow. Thank you. Madam Speaker, or Madam Majority Leader, Madam Majority Leader, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move House Bill 1265 on third reading, final passage.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any discussion on House Bill 21-1265? Seeing none, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Okay. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
All right. Please close the machine, Mr. Gregorio. Members, House Bill 21-1265 passes with 62 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 3 excused. And, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine for co-sponsors. And on the screen, we've got a bunch. Representative McLaughlin wants to co-sponsor, as does Representative Jackson. And, I think a first time, Representative Neville wants to co-sponsor. And Representative Ricks also wants to co-sponsor. Representative Exum, I can't see you. Do you want to co-sponsor?
Yes, please.
Thank you. And Representative, I guess I... Who? Bacon. Oh, Bacon. Representative Bacon decided she wants to co-sponsor as well. All right. Seeing no other co-sponsors, please close the machine. And Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move to lay over general orders, second reading of bills until Friday, May 7th.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no objection. Seeing no objection, we will lay over the second reading of bills, general orders, reading of bills till Friday, May 7th. Special orders. Just general orders is going to be laid over.
Now we're doing special orders.
And now we will move to our special orders calendar. Isn't somebody supposed to raise their hand?
Cataveo.
Representative Cataveo. You've heard the motion. Seeing no objection, members, we will move into special orders. And Representative Cataveo will take the chair.
Oh, thank you.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to Senate Bill 92.
Senate Bill 92 by Senators Colker and Simpson, also Representatives Judah and Soper, concerning the continuation of the regulations of persons who assist surgeons and in connection therewith implementing the recommendations contained in the 2020 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Representative Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move SB 92.
To the bill. Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Senate Bill 92 is the bill you've been waiting all year for. It concerns surgical assistants and technicians, and it's renewing their licensure for another period of time. I know this is a cutting-edge bill, but we certainly added in some elements to this bill to concern a provision in case someone has a habitual drug or alcohol use problem or is working outside the scope that they can be sanctioned for that. And one thing we did hear from the surgical technicians is that the surgeons they work under do indeed have a sense of humor because they tend to leave their patients in stitches.
I don't know, Representative Soper, that was a little sterile, but. Representative Judah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We were making sure everyone was paying attention. I also just want to point out the Association of Surgical Technologists were neutral on the bill, and I think we're good to go. Pretty simple, straightforward.
Any further discussion on Senate Bill 92? Minority Leader McKean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seems cut and dry.
Very nice. Any further jokes on Senate Bill 92 or discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is passage of Senate Bill 92. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 92 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to House Bill 1285.
House Bill 1285 by Representatives Benavides and Harrod, also Senators Jaquez, Lewis, and Buckner, concerning the allocation of general fund money to provide support to creative arts industries and in connection therewith, making an appropriation.
Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, we are proud to bring before you House Bill 1285. As you all know, the pandemic has devastated the arts industry, and the arts industry is responsible for $13.7 billion in revenue for our state. House Bill 1285 provides financial assistance to artists, the Colorado film industry, and cultural organizations. It extends the work of Senate Bill 20B-001, which distributed $7.5 million in financial assistance to arts and cultural programs across the state. I ask for an aye vote.
Would one of you like to move the bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill.
We have a
I move House Bill 1285 and the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report.
Thank you, Representative Harrod. To the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report.
The Business Affairs and Labor Committee did great work on this bill. I ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
On the business?
Oh. Call the question. No, it's just the committee report. No. Let's, so the committee report is passed, and I'll go to you next, Representative. I had called the question. To the bill.
Going like this.
I'm sorry, I missed you.
You're going whoa, whoa, whoa.
To the bill. Representative Holtorf.
Madam Chair, I'll let the leadership solve the issue here without getting involved in that. I do want to talk to the bill, and I will tell you, as we carve out $5 million here to support creative arts industries, I'm truly concerned. There are so many things we need to support in this state. Now, I'm not going to say that arts and theater and television and film are at the bottom of that list, but I will tell you those typically are wants and not needs. I'd like to have cable TV, I'd like to have Netflix, I'd like to have a lot of things. That's a want. But we have real needs in this state, and that $5 million, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot of money. The priority of resources is askew when we carve out $5 million to creative arts, and we can't even fix our roads in eastern Colorado. There are so many things that we need to do with $5 million in a post-COVID-19 era. So many things. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not to invest in this at this time. Now, yesterday I talked about timing and how timing is so important in the investments you make and the time that you make those investments. We need more investments. Now, I know yesterday we had a big transportation announcement, and we've got a comprehensive plan to solve the transportation problems of the state. But I will tell you, when will they get to Colorado Highway 63? When will they get to Colorado Highway 71? When will they get to Colorado Highway 59? When will they get to Colorado Highway 61 in my communities? When will they open up the lanes in 287 so we don't have as many accidents as we have, and I'm talking head-on collisions, because of the amount of traffic. I'm to the bill, sponsor. $5 million, and it's going to creative arts and industries, when in fact, bill sponsors, it should go to a more important need. So I'm stating my objection. to this bill. To the bill, I'm stating my objection to the investment of $5 million today in May of 2021 to this when there's so many other needs out there. I will be a strong no on this frivolous spending that comes forth time and time again in this chamber.
Minority Leader McKean.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. You know, these are some of the issues that kind of have us at a crux, because Loveland is well known as an arts community. It's well known as a community that depends on the arts and sculpture. It's actually one of the, I believe it's the second largest community where we have foundries, the largest number of foundries in the country. And we cast a lot of sculpture there. In fact, if you've been to the United States Capitol, you may have seen, remind me who the astronaut is. Is it Carpenter? Yeah. Jack Swigert in the rotunda, and that was actually cast by a good friend of mine in Loveland. And so when we talk about the impact of the arts through COVID, I think that it's important to consider, but it's also important to consider what is the impact of the jobs there? What is the impact of what those industries and those communities look like? You know, in Loveland, we have actually specific money in every city contract that's built in for the arts. We have that built in because it's so important to us as a community, but that's a community-driven experience. That's a community-driven decision to put capital project money toward the arts in every possible way we can. And it's partly because it supports our residents and supports jobs in our own town. So I think when we get down to this, I think we actually have a moment to consider when we hear tales of frivolous spending, and then we start to consider what puts food on families' tables. What is it that we're here to do? What is it that we're here to do as far as taking the impact we can have with some of the stimulus dollars we have to make sure that we help with jobs, help with funding, and not just that, but literally help families. Sitting across from each other at the kitchen table saying, how are we going to do this? So I would actually ask that you take a long consideration of this bill, that we take a good hard look at what we want to do with the stimulus dollars we have as a state for the entire panoply of industries that we have, and what that does for jobs in the state, what it does for the families that we all come here to represent.
Representative Ortiz.
All right. Members, I reject this mutually exclusive choice that's being presented in front of you by some members. First, I want to say that a culture is defined by their writing, their literature, the art, the sculptures that they leave behind, number one. Second of all, if we're going to talk about putting food on families' tables, I am a proud lifelong member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 1. And one of our most successful programs is the Veteran Arts Council. Some of their art is hanging up on the walls here at the Capitol. Started off as a PTSD therapy program, and our artists got good enough to open up our post as a gallery on first and third Fridays to sell their artwork. Before COVID, the year before that, we sold over $40,000 to $50,000 worth of artwork. So don't tell me that this bill will not put food on the tables of families. You're talking about veteran families that this bill will help. I urge and I vote. Thank you.
Further discussion on House Bill 1285. Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And one question I asked during the committee is, one section of the bill speaks to at least 51% of the board of directors or the staff of the cultural facilities consists of individuals from defined historically marginalized and under-resourced communities. And that may be fine. And I'm just wasn't clear on the self-certification process, because we as the General Assembly can't tell, I think it's SCFD. I don't think we can tell them exactly who they need to hire and who they can't hire and things like that. So maybe just help me understand that aspect of it.
Representative Benavides.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, just to give people some backgrounds, I mentioned it in the committee. The SCFD, when it came up for reauthorization in 2015 or 16, There was a agreement reached with SCFD to establish the ACTS Fund, and those are the requirements set out in the ACTS Fund to help these organizations that are all Tier 3. So, oh shoot. That was why we put that language. So we're not imposing it on the SCFD. The SCFD has that language already. And that was agreed to, you know, when they proposed it during reauthorization to the legislature at that time. So that's why the language is in there. It's not, it is SCFD's language that they have in their ACTS Fund.
Further discussion on 1285. Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you, sir.
So I make my living in this industry, so I should be in full support of this bill. But when we as a body cannot fully fund body cameras to the tune of an additional $2 million, and we had a big debate about this, but yet we can, in this industry, throw $5 million towards it. I have a real problem with that. The other issues I have with this bill is that I don't understand what an under-resourced community is. I will tell you, my foundry is in Loveland, and that community actually has a huge amount of our economy comes from this sort of activity. And I'm not sure this bill does anything that will actually help the community in Loveland. And so I really think we need to get our priorities straight when we start thinking about the safety and security of our citizens versus creating funding that allows whatever an under-resourced community is. Because I will tell you, there's a lot of artists in Loveland, Colorado that are under-resourced because the last thing people want to do in a tight economy or a COVID environment is buy art. And so this bill doesn't do anything for what I know very personally to be a community of artists. Instead, it kind of carves out some special interests and gives more money towards an industry versus our safety. So I'm a hearty no on this bill.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair, esteemed colleagues. I also want to echo the message of my colleague from Wellington. This is, I believe they call this a special interest bill. So this particular bill, is targeting and selecting funding to go to a special interest, under-resourced community. 51% of its programming on engaging and supporting defined historically marginalized and under-resourced communities. Well, first of all, who is defining these marginalized and under-resourced communities? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, I think I have, to the bill sponsors, I think I have marginally and under-resourced communities in eastern Colorado. But I'm pretty sure that this bill is not going to reach out to them. I'm 110% sure. As we target and carve out for our special interests. And I'm talking about special interests of legislators in this Gold Dome. I'm not talking about a special interest with respect to the community. Please don't misunderstand me. Please don't misunderstand me. Because truly, every legislator in this chamber has a special interest. It's called their House district, and that's who they're supposed to serve. That's their special interest. But this goes beyond that, and I think my colleague pointed that out. But I'm going to go back to the original theme, film, television, media. I hate to say it, but film, television, and media is awash with money in this country. awash. Now, I'm not talking about the small little startups. But I tell you, this year in a post-COVID-19 recovery, there's a lot of existing businesses that need help. And have we done enough? Well, apparently we got an extra $5 million here to throw around, and I know we throw around millions of dollars in this Gold Dome. We throw it around like people throw cards on a card table. Million here, million there, it's nothing. But I go back to my point, in my original point. Ladies and gentlemen, there's this thing called blocking and tackling in an economy. Blocking and tackling in our state, doing the basics, taking care of the basics. Have we taken care of all of those needs across this state in every corner, in every space? Because when we have, and only when we've done that, do we need to worry about throwing around $5 million to these, what I call wants and not needs.
Further discussion on 1285, Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
I do move L004 and ask for it to be displayed.
The amendment has been properly moved
and so what
and is now displayed. Go ahead, Representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And what this will do is the bill, it divides up $5 million in a couple different tranches. It puts $3.5 million, for example, to the Colorado Office of Film, Television, and Media, but it also puts $1.5 million in the Creative Industries Cash Fund, and that's within SCFD, the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District. This is a district that 7 metro counties, and I know there's areas within those 7 counties that have actually voted themselves out, but that's the 7 metro area counties. It's putting that $1.5 million into them, into the cultural districts in those counties. So what this amendment does is it takes that $1.5 million and instead puts it towards a small business relief program, which is in the bill already. That's what, if there's leftover money on top of the 3.5 and the 1.5, it will move the additional money left over to that small business relief program. So I'm skipping a step. 3.5 still goes to office, film, and TV. But that 1.5 will sweep just automatically to that small business relief program. And a couple reasons for this is, especially for my rural Colorado folks, is if you're outside those 7 districts, that $1.5 million, if you're outside those 7 metro area counties, that $1.5 million is guaranteed never, ever, ever to get to you or your cultural districts or your arts. So with this, it actually would move that $1.5 million to be statewide and to offer relief to the small businesses of all of Colorado that are struggling. So I would ask for a yes vote.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank my colleague for bringing this amendment. It's not a terrible amendment to my colleague. It does also, I think, show the value of the arts. And so I appreciate a broader understanding of what the arts brings to our communities and the fact that they have been devastated by COVID. What I want to just say is that we did come up with this number based on the unmet and the allocations based on the unmet need in the counties from the initial grant cycle. And so while I do agree with you that more money should go to creative industries overall and hope that we can do more over the course of our recovery efforts, right now this is the allocation that CCI and others think makes sense for what we have. I think the conversation of unspent dollars is one that will continue as this bill makes its way through the process. And I think we could have more conversations about that. So again, I appreciate my colleague's amendment, but at this time I am going to ask for a no vote.
Further discussion on L004, Representative Holtorf.
Well, unlike my colleague from Denver, I'm going to ask for an aye vote. I would like that more equitable distribution across this state. I think this amendment addresses that. I think my colleague from Douglas County makes a very good point. It rubs a little of the special interest and the special targeting of funds. And what we see in rural Colorado, the continued funneling of millions and millions of dollars into the urban corridor while rural Colorado gets neglected, rejected, or not considered. I think this amendment helps to move the needle across the state. So I'm in favor of this amendment, and I thank my colleague from Douglas County for bringing this amendment forward, because we need to be more equitable. We need to be more diverse, and we need to be more inclusive in how we distribute money across this state. Equity across all of Colorado. Diversity to include rural Colorado in our frontier and rural communities. And inclusive means we include everybody in the state and don't carve out special money for those special places in the urban corridor that need millions and millions of our taxpayer dollars or federal money that comes from Washington to supplement and augment them so they can thrive, but yet we continue to attack rural Colorado so we cannot.
Representative Pelton. Nope. Any further discussion on L004? Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L004 to House Bill 1285. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The noes have it. The amendment is lost. Back to the bill. Any further discussion? Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am seeing the safety clause way too much this year. There's very few bills that have a petition clause, and in my opinion, this bill does not warrant a safety clause. So with that, I would move L005 and have it displayed.
The amendment has been properly moved and is now displayed. Please discuss the amendment, Representative Pelton.
Well, I think I kind of jumped the gun and kind of did that already.
That is true.
I just asked for an aye vote on this petition clause to remove the safety clause. It doesn't fit under the definition of what safety clause should do.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Benavides.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, the reason we have a safety clause and we have it on all of these bills that are stimulus monies is because we need to get the economy going now. All of these arts groups, it's not just about the group itself, but they are economic generators. Every time there's a festival, one of the festivals that is in this grouping that will probably be helped is the Dragon Boat Festival. When they hold that annually, there are many artists, craftspeople, there's many restaurants and others, there's traffic control, all of those things for a 3-day festival that is an economic generator. And these monies are needed to get out in our economy immediately. And that's why we don't support this bill and this amendment, and we urge a no vote.
Further discussion on L005, Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The safety clause is the most overused clause in legislation in this Gold Dome. Because truly the safety clause is about the safety of humans and life. I will tell you that this particular bill does not need a safety clause. People are not going to die if this thing doesn't happen immediately after being signed. Well, I don't know, they might die if we have all these festivals and we don't have our COVID-19 and we get a 5th wave and all of a sudden here we go. I don't know. I guess I can't predict the future. I'm not going to try. But I will tell you, in a post-COVID-19 recovery, in my humble opinion, the proper allocation of resources should be to so many other things in our state than this endeavor. And I am very much supportive of this amendment, which would be the proper utilization of a clause and would also allow, more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, more importantly and more than anything, with the petition clause, for those of us that understand it, it took me a while to figure it out, because I'm kind of a slow study sometimes on things. But what it told me is the petition clause allows the citizens of this state to petition to determine whether they want this to become law. So now the people get a vote. But every time, this is for my class upstairs now, pay attention, it's going to be on the test. Every time that we use the safety clause because we feel that it must happen immediately to save lives, on almost everything, well, really, we just want to get it done right away so no one can stop it, for whatever those motives are, for expediency or selfishness or whatever our special interests are. So immediately after the governor signs it, then it becomes law. But rather, we take away from the people's right to express at the ballot how these dollars are spent. Both federal, because we are doing in this state a yeoman's work to try to capture every federal dollar we can. Of all these federal funds, we are working so hard in this Gold Dome this session to try to trap every federal dollar we can. And I don't know if this bill, the bill sponsors can tell me if it's trying to trap federal dollars coming out of Washington, D.C. or not. But those dollars are not free money. They come at the expense of future generations. There's many states that are rejecting that money. But I know to the amendment, ma'am, I can feel it coming, so I'm going to get back to the amendment. I can feel it. I feel the energy.
You feel me looking at you.
I feel the eyes burning in the back of my head, and I appreciate your leadership. But to this, ladies and gentlemen, I would argue that 90% of the bills we pass in this chamber or more should have the petition clause exclusively. If we don't do this tomorrow or next week or next month, I don't think anybody's going to die. Well, I don't know. Earlier on, I mentioned how that could be a possibility. Vote yes on this, and let's get this thing back on the right track.
Further discussion on the amendment. Representative Leontine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to point out that I was recently a bill sponsor of a bill that dispersed state stimulus money to our ag organizations across the state to the tune of $9 million. That very bill also had a safety clause because we knew that that money was desperately needed by those organizations. Those organizations generate a large amount of revenue for the state, and it was vital that they get that money as quickly as we could get it. That's the same situation that we are facing here. The safety clause is needed so those organizations can get that money as soon as possible. I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Further discussion. Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, I actually understand that there are times that we do need to use the safety clause, maybe just to disperse money. That being said, giving money out to the arts industries is different than getting it out to rural Colorado for needs that they have. Once again, the safety clause says, the General Assembly hereby finds, determines, and declares that this act is necessary for the immediate preservation of public peace, health, or safety. I would posit that this is not needed for the immediate preservation of public peace, health, and safety. I think we all love art here. I think we maybe have different ideas on whether or not it's the role of government to supporting the various arts. All that being said, is it necessary to be done for the immediate preservation of public peace, health, or safety? I would say that that is a big no, and I would urge an aye vote on this amendment, and I thank the sponsor for bringing it.
Any further discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is adoption of L005 to House Bill 1285. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The noes have it. The amendment is lost. Minority Leader McKeon.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So this goes back a little bit to the discussion of yesterday and what we have seen, and that's that's truly, if we've got these jobs, if we've got people who are sitting here saying, we're struggling, I know there are rural communities that have some creative industries. I know that this is not just focused in one or two towns. And again, I speak from a town that has a lot of creative industries, has a lot of artists, has a lot of people who are dependent on revenue. And in fact, last year we didn't have our sculpture show because of COVID. Our sculpture show brings in over $1 million just in sales at the show, over $10 million of revenue into our town every year. And so we know that when we take a look at where we're trying to help, that we run the risk of picking winners and losers. And that's kind of where I look at this bill and say, I'm not decided about it, because I know that those industries are out there. I know that we want to make sure that help gets to where help is needed, but are we picking winners and losers in this? Are we picking the winners of the people who have our ear, as one of our colleagues said, our special interest? And we should have those people in our communities that know that they can come to us with questions, come to us with, we need this kind of help. I talked yesterday about Cardinal Glass, right? Cardinal Glass is an industrial resident in my town, not part of the creative industries, but they're right down the street from a foundry. They're right down the street from Artist Studios and Jane Dedeker and all of these people that we have. And so when we get to this point, when we get to a point where we say, well, any discrepancy in funding is picking winners and losers, I think, we're actually here to advocate for our districts. We're actually here to advocate for the folks who sent us here. So again, I'm still a little betwixt and between on this bill, because to be honest, this is something that's really important for my community. However, are these the best dollars to spend right here, right now?
Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And like I mentioned before, this industry is near and dear to my heart. I am a second generation benefactor from this sort of industry, and this is crucial to our state. And I know that it would be impossible to try to reduce the amount of funds we're putting towards this. So what I would like to do is make sure that those funds are available for anyone in that industry by reducing some of the criteria for people getting this money. I don't want to take any of that money away. I just want to make sure that it is completely equitable across all of our artists. This bill talks about artists. We care about artists. Let's make sure that we can use this funding across that entire industry, the entire gamut of people that are in this industry. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to introduce Amendment L006.
Would you like to move it?
I would like to move L006.
Thank you, Representative. The amendment has been properly moved and is now displayed. Any further discussion on L006? Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, like I said, I'm not messing with the amount of money that's going on here. I'm just making sure that all of the artists across the state are involved in the benefit of this money. And it's kind of complicated. We worked pretty hard to get this put through, so feel free to take time to digest what we've got going on here. But really what it does is it takes this money and makes it available to all artists. All artists. It doesn't exclude anyone from being able to apply for and get this money. And I would urge a yes vote on L006.
Further discussion on L006? Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank my colleague from the Cowboy Caucus, because, in fact, he is promoting inclusion. Inclusion for everyone, so there is no discrimination. There is no racial division. There is inclusion across the state. What a glorious idea. Let everyone participate. all underprivileged, regardless of race, creed, ethnicity, color, gender, gender orientation, country of origin, or any other socio-political description you may concoct or come up with. I really like this amendment. My colleague here is probably one of the most inclusive and considerate individuals in the Cowboy Caucus. Wait a minute. How many members do we have? Needless to say, I like this amendment. It's a good amendment. And it puts this thing in a direction, despite I still believe is not the appropriate allocation, it puts this particular resource across the entire state. And that is equitable. Let's be honest. Let's define equity for what it is. Equity is everyone. Equity is all Coloradoans. Equity for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I made my point.
Further discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is a passage of Amendment L006 to House Bill 1285. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The noes have it. The amendment is lost. To the bill. Any further discussion on House Bill 1285? Seeing none, the question before us is adoption of House Bill 1285. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1285 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come to order. Mr. Gregorio, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker Pro Tem, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it is under consideration. The following attached bills being the second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 21-1285 is amended, passed on second reading in order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 92 passed on second reading in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Thank you. Representative Caraveo. Thank you. Members, you've heard the motion. There are amendments on the desk. The clerk will read the Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole report.
Representative Holtorf moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Pelton Amendment L0052, House Bill 21-1285, to show that said amendment passed and that House Bill 21-1285 is amended passed.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Did I get that right? Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move the Holtorf Amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Pelton Amendment, L005, to House Bill 21-1285.
Is there any discussion? Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I seek the day when we get the safety clause right in this chamber. Now, I'm going to use a little example that even my colleague from Jefferson County who served in the military can understand with respect to the safety clause. I'm going to use an example that in the military is called ROE, Rules of Engagement. Rules of engagement are defined and determined by the chain of command to protect our service members from harm. And also to allow us to participate in combat operations in a manner that follows the Geneva Convention, that also follows the laws of proportionality. So, in many ROE rules, you're not allowed to fire until fired upon, because that is when your safety, that is when your life is threatened. I'm getting there. Don't worry, Buckwheat. I'm getting there.
I'm
now,
sorry.
what I'd like to say, that's an endearing term, by the way.
Representative Holtorf, we must maintain order in here and not refer to any individuals other than in any inappropriate manner. So please do not do that any further.
Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Holt,
Why are you yelling at me? Why are you yelling at me? Why are you yelling at me?
We're going to be in a recess. We're in a short recess.
Why are you yelling at me? Why am I?
And I will turn it on. Members, the House will come back to order. Before the recess, we were on the first Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole report, which was moved. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is adoption of the first Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole report. The clerk will open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
No.
No. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
No.
No. Representative Jackson, how do you vote? Representative Jackson, I'll come back to you. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Ricks votes no. Representative Exum, how do you vote? Representative Exum, how do you vote?
No.
No. Representative Exum votes no. Representative Neville, you think I forgot about you? I know. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. And Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Jackson votes no. With Mr. Gregorio, please close the machine. With 22 ayes and 39 noes and 4 excused, the first Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole fails. We have one more, the second Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole. Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move the second Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole. And what this one does, it's the one that moves the money from the 1.5 million that would be going to SCFD and moves it to all
Representative
of Colorado.
Van Winkle, you know I'm new at this and I missed one part that Mr. Gregorio needs to read.
Representative Holtorf moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole to reverse the action taken by the committee not adopting the following Van Winkle Amendment L004 to House Bill 21-1285 to show that said amendment passed and that House Bill 21-1285 is amended passed.
Thank you, Mr. Gregorio. And Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. And yes, I move the second Holtorf amendment to the Committee of the Whole. And ask for a yes vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of the second amendment to the committee, the second Holtorf amendment to the committee of the whole. The clerk will open the machine and members proceed to vote. And on the screen, Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Bacon votes no. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
No.
Representative McLaughlin votes no. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Jackson votes no. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Exum votes no. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Neville votes yes. And Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Ricks votes no. Representative Snyder. Okay. Mr. Gregorio, please close the machine. And the second Holtorf amendment to the committee of the whole fails on a vote of 38 noes, 23 ayes, and 4 excused. There are no further amendments on the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the committee of the whole. Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Bacon, how do you vote? Representative Bacon, how do you vote? We'll come back. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative Exum, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Exum votes yes. Representative Neville, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Neville votes no. Representative Ricks, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Representative Ricks votes yes. And Representative Bacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Bacon votes yes. Okay. Representative Holtorf and Representative McKean, could you please vote? Okay. The committee of the whole Mr. Gregorio, please close the machine. The committee of the whole passes with 38 ayes, 23 noes, and 4 excused. And Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar till tomorrow, May 6th.
You've heard the motion, members. The balance, seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until tomorrow, May 6th. There's business to be, you want me to do this first? Business to be read. Mr. Gregorio, can you read the, hold on. Let's start with announcements and introductions. Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee, we have a meeting upon adjournment. We're going to start at 11:15, so about 15 minutes downstairs in room 112. We have 1292 and 1288 on the calendar. See you at 11:15.
Thank you. And Representative Mullica.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members, I have a pretty special person in my life that has a birthday today. My best friend, my wife. She turns, I'm not going to say that, but she has a birthday today, and I just want to wish her a happy birthday. I love you.
Any more announcements and introductions? No? Okay, hang on. Oh, Representative Hooton. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members, House Transportation and Local Government will be meeting this afternoon at LSB, and we will be hearing House Bill, okay, excuse me. I know, drum roll, please. We'll be hearing House Bill 1291 and 1284. Thank you. And we've got Representative Cutter replacing.
Yeah, I'll make that announcement.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. Pro Tem.
Representative McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Education, we're meeting 10 minutes after adjournment in room 107. See you there. Thanks.
Thank you. And Representative A. Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Energy and Environment, we're going to meet at LSBA at 15 after.
Thank you. And Representative Byrd.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. So we are not meeting in finance today, even though I'm here making a finance announcement. For anyone following the calendar for our committee tomorrow, I just wanted to let you know that House Bill 1189 will be laid over. So we won't be hearing that bill on Thursday.
Thank you. Let me make one announcement about committees. Representative Snyder will replace Representative Exum on Transportation and Local Government Committee for today only, and Representative Cutter will replace Representative Jackson on Health Insurance Committee for today only. Any more announcements? Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members of the Agricultural Hall of Fame is meeting tonight, not only having their annual dinner, supporting and announcing the individuals here in the state of Colorado for their hard work, but also the individuals who are inducted into the Hall of Fame. So with that, 4-H members, FFA, looking forward to see you there this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more announcements and introductions? Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Esteemed colleagues, I'd request a moment of personal privilege.
A moment of personal privilege has been requested, and please proceed.
Thank you, Madam. It is my intent to maintain the highest levels of modicum and behavior in this chamber. I think we all need to consider what we do here and how we address and talk to each other. It is in no way that I speak in this dais, in this well, from a point of disrespect. I think that we all have to do better. I will start with me. But I think we have to respect each other. We have to respect people's time here and listen and be good people and not try to have confrontations across this chamber. And I do understand that I take my direction from you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem, Madam or Mr. Chair, or Mr. Speaker, and I think we all need to remember that. And I apologize if I've offended anybody in any way. It is not my intent, ladies and gentlemen. If anyone would like to talk to me afterwards, I'd be more than happy to visit with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Holtorf. Is there any other announcements or introductions? Madam Speaker, Madam Majority Leader, I keep
Please
promoting
don't give me
you.
that job. Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will be in recess till later today. What about this?